You remember that 80s song? It's just a heart of rock and roll. It's something. The more something I believe in. No, 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 no. The heart of rock and roll. Heart of rock and roll is in Cleveland. Doom, 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 doom. When I was a kid, I loved that heartbeat. I don't know why, but that heartbeat drew me to the song. That's not the only thing that's in Cleveland. Iron workers, retirees, get bad news on pension cuts. As I said about a month ago or so, the amount of pension videos I've done in 2016 alone destroys any other year I've ever talked about this stuff. And I've been following that stuff, whether it's finances, pensions, the economy, all that stuff. I haven't just picked and choose what I wanted. It's all that stuff. If I see it, I'm reporting it. Pensions, I'm reporting it. Because I don't think I have it anymore. I think I deleted it. I had a video. I did a silly little parody. The Piano Man. It was about Twinkies. Remember Twinkies? They're filing for bankruptcy and there's some pension problems for those employees or something. If I recall. That was a while back. So I've been doing this for a little while. That's all I'm trying to say. As far as pensions. I've been following this because I know there are people out there that definitely have pensions. They rely on them. It's my pension and I get it and I deserve it and I'll get it. And they don't understand or even think it's possible that they won't get it. Or that can be drastically cut until it starts coming to them, until they get a letter in the mail. Hey, by the way, Houston, there's a problem. So, you feel bad on one hand, but then, like I said, with the other ones, the police, fire, and the city workers, the last year of your pension, they go ape, and they just get all the overtime, all the extra work they can get their hands on, because the final year they work, that's how their pension's determined. So if they can get a ton of hours, they'll make way more money in that year than they've ever made in any year, being either a police officer or firefighter, etc. So then the pension system now has to pay them more than was expected, and every single person's doing it. So when I hear that, as I said before, forgive me if I'm not real upset for your loss. Okay? That's the truth. I hate to say that. But we all have to be reasonable. And that's just absurd. Yeah, but it's there. There's a loophole, and the loophole shouldn't be there if we weren't allowed to do it. I get it. And guess what? That's why you're dealing with the pension problems. That's why I'm about to read this for the poor iron workers of Cleveland. Washington, D.C., the Treasury Department, late Friday, said an iron workers union retirement fund in Cleveland can cut retiree pensions deeply. Deeply. Not just cut them deeply for the sake of keeping the fund solvent. This gives the green light for the Iron Workers Local 17 Fund to reduce pensions for men and women who erected the iron and steel that frames Cleveland's modern skyline by nearly 50% for some. Oh, you're getting a $3,000 a month pension. Man, you're killing it, dude. Good for you. Letter in the mail. We're sorry. Your $3,000 is now turned to $1,500 for the sake of keeping the fund solvent. Quote, I am disheartened, said Pat Overstreet, the wife of Walter Overstreet, an iron worker who framed the Standard Oil of Ohio headquarters, later called BP Tower, in the early 1980s. He also worked on what is now Progressive Field and on a control tower at Cleveland Hopkins Airport, making about $50,000 in good years. I don't know what to say, Pat, who has tried to organize opposition to the cuts, said when told the news. It's so unfair. Pat, I love you, but I'm going to channel my sister. Since you said, I don't know what to say, it's so unfair. I'm going to now channel Andrea. Andrea, step in, please. Step forward. And by the way, if any of you remember Bashar, the channeler of the ET thing, when I was on my quest to wake up, years and years and years ago. I found Bashar on YouTube. What the hell is this guy? He's channeling ETs. I bought a bunch of his DVDs. I was fascinated. Don't know if that's real at all, but it was fascinating then. I was in my process of waking up, so I had to get my hands on it and see what it was about. Bashar. I'm going to channel it like Bashar does. I think he did. Didn't he do like this? Right, Andrea, step forward, please. Nobody said life was fair. Suck it up. Thanks, Andrea. Appreciate that. You may step out now. This is the first federal approval since Congress passed a controversial law in 2014 that let multi-employer pension plans reduce retirees' pension incomes. Now, you know how I always tell you, been saying it for years, these rotten congressmen, women, etc., are bureaucrats that run Washington, D.C., they always do stuff in advance. They're always ready for stuff in advance, so they pass laws in advance, just under the radar. There's no problem here. There's nothing to worry about. We're just going to pass the law anyways. And you sit back, why'd you pass that law? Nothing's happening about that right now. Because something's going to be happening about that in the future. So in 2014, when I wasn't doing hardly any pension videos, if any at all, I'm not really sure. Now all of a sudden, they have a way out. The law is already passed. Have a nice day. And notice how they said for private pension systems. The government pension systems, that's a little bit different. We may have to tap those taxpayers on that one. But you private company pensioners, sorry about your luck. We've approved it. Get lost. No bailout for you. Is your name Wall Street? Nope. Is your name JP Morgan Chase? Nope. Is your name Goldman Sachs? Nope. Is your name Bank of America? Nope. Are you an executive at any of said countries? Nope. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. You're a crook. You're an animal. How could you take a young boy's heart? I don't remember that line from Willy Wonka, so I'm not even going to try to complete that one. This is the first year that, again, this is the first. So again, they passed the law in 2014. This is the first usage of the law. This is the first federal approval since Congress passed a controversial law in 2014 that let multi-employer pension plans reduce retirees' pension incomes. Treasury, in May, turned down a proposal from a better-known and bigger pension plan, the Teamsters Central States Fund, saying it was not persuaded that deep cuts would save the struggling fund. So what does that mean to me? That means that you can do deep cuts and the fund is still absolutely massively insolvent. Good day, sir. Every time I talk about pensions, I have to mention, so I'm going to do it again. Over 2,000 years ago, the Roman Empire. It was the United States of its day, the first world superpower of its day. The most beautiful structures were built. They had a very high level of status across the world, and of course, till they tried to warmonger everybody, and barbarians and other people had enough and took them down. But before that, life was great. If you were a Roman citizen, you get to go to the Colosseum. They're doing these events at least once a month. I mean, I remember reading something where they said if they had to do one today, one of these Colosseum events in the equivalent US dollars now, it would cost $1 billion, they said. $1 billion to do what Rome did at the Colosseum. But they had pensions. The Romans had pensions. Their troops had pensions. 20 years, you give 20 years of service. Thank you for your service, sir. Good, because I'm getting my pension now. And they promised them things that they could not keep up with. At first, it always works. The first set of people collecting always works. Oh, yeah, that's okay. And that's usually when it stops. Everybody else, you're screwed. Which is why I always say, if you get that letter in the mail, we need to reduce this, we're willing to pay you a lump sum, you take it and run as fast as you can. Okay? But despite Treasury's approval, in the new case, it will be up to local 17 members to decide whether to accept the cuts proposed by their pension fund's trustees, a group composed of union members and employer representatives. Treasury's approval was merely a first but crucial step, with Treasury concluding that the proposal met federal guidelines. So, essentially, it's you don't have the money, You know, it's a simple math. If they're saying about 50%, then this is simple math. Let's say there's $2 billion in the pension fund currently. They can see how many employees there are, how many people are going to be getting these pensions. You know, exactly. It's just simple math. You got a spreadsheet? No problem. We got this covered. We can see in the future, we're going to need $4 billion total to deal with this. With all of the current forecasts, people working, etc., people getting their pensions right now, we're going to need an additional $2 billion. We're not going to be able to get it. This isn't a state pension, right? It's a private pension. Can't tap the taxpayers. So, it's simple math. We got to take a 50% haircut. That's it. End of story. And Mr. or Mrs. Pat, Mr. or Mrs. Pat, whatever, this isn't fair. Don't make me channel my sister again. I'll do it if I have to. I don't like to, but I'll do it if I have to. Nobody said life was fair. So, Pat, I hope you got some precious metals in your back pocket or in a safe at your house, because you might find that the 50% haircut ain't enough. You know why? Well, we've been expecting an 8% return all these years. Therefore, we have essentially cooked the books because we've expected those kind of returns, and now the reality is setting in. We've had a number of years where the returns have been absolutely terrible, which we now have to make up for. And if we have a stock market crash of any type, we're in deep trouble. Which means your pension might go bye-bye completely. And it just so happens, Miss or Mrs. Pat, Mr. or Pat, that the stock market is at an all-time high. Housing, once again, all-time high. U.S. dollar index, all-time high. I'd like you to look at some fairly recent history. What happened when the dollar was at an all-time high last time? What happened when the stock market was at an all-time high last time? And what happened to the housing bubble the last time it was at an all-time high? The answer for all three is it's not looking good. And your pension isn't just money sitting in a bank that they pay you every week or month or whatever month. It's working in the stock market. It's got to earn something, got to earn some kind of return. So if it's invested in something and that something goes kaputs, ooh, sorry. As I said, find a way to get that lump sum payout. You may even proactively say, let me call in and ask, because I got a feeling mine might be in that trouble. Because the bottom line is almost every single pension fund, especially in this country, but anywhere, always relies on that 8% number. And then when reality hits for 2-3 years in a row, we had 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever. Now we got to make those years up. So now we need more than 8% for a number of years. And then you have a market crash. Oh, good luck on that, right? It's just bad news getting worse. I'll tell you, if it was up to me, there would be no pension. There would be no stock market you invest in. It's simply a private, company's raising capital. You're a private investor, and that's it. Plain and simple. Private investment. You earn, your income off the company's returns every year, that kind of thing. You're not buying and selling stocks and day trading. All that crap is just gone. Which would also mean we all need to earn a decent salary so that we can stock away our own money and maybe invest in some of these private companies privately, not public. We're going public. We're going to go public. I would get rid of all that crap. Whatever happened to just good old saving. We should be able to make a living in this country and make so much that we have enough to pay all the bills. And I'm not talking be stupid and fruitless. Well, I got a nice Corvette and my wife's got a Range Rover. No. Normal, modest, not even modest, okay? Just average, if you will. Middle class lifestyle. You got a used car or whatever, maybe a newer car or whatever. Regular house. You're not trying to keep up with the Jones. And you should be able to save some money away too. You should be able to pay the mortgage, pay your car payments, the typical bills we all see, and then stock some money away. And they say the only way to do that, you can't do that now. Got 2% inflation every year. Oh, that's not going to happen. You got to invest, man. You got to invest. And then you do it, and it's looking good. Man, my 401k is looking fantastic right now. Oh, market crash. You can't call your broker. Too late. Have a nice day. Done. You finished. Oh, I'll call and have them, what they say, park it in cash. Take my 401k out. I don't like what I'm seeing in the market. Park it in cash on the side. I'm sorry, your company doesn't have that level of plan with us. We can't do that. So I got to talk to my HR department to see if we can get on that level. Yes. HR department, can we? No, it's too much money. We can't do that. Okay, well, now what do I do? I see an all-time high. I'm very nervous. I want out of the market. What can I do? Put it in the category of really safe. You know, safe, medium, and then high risk. Just put all your stuff in the safe stuff. Okay, and if they go down, you're just telling me that there was a better chance that they didn't go down, but they still went down. How does that save me? It doesn't. So how do I get my money out? Do you have a job? No. Yes, I do. Can't get out. Can't say that you're in a, a financial bind to get your money out. You have a job? Can't get out. Sorry. Oh, that's fantastic. So what you're telling me is this 401k, which is supposed to be fantastic, is really a boat anchor attached to my leg in which somebody can throw it over the boat at any time without my asking me or my approval or even telling me. And I just find out as my leg gets yanked overboard and I go down with the anchor. Yeah, you could say that in a, an extreme scenario. Yeah. Well, I think extreme scenarios are going to be the new thing because everything's an extreme. Extreme bubble, extreme real estate bubble, extreme stock market bubble, extreme everything. Which is why I don't have even a penny. I don't have 1 red cent in any kind of paper asset, nonsense, market, nothing. I just got these. That's it. And I'm gambling the hell. I'm gambling to hell and back that this is going to do it for me when I retire one day. Even though I really wanted this to just protect some kind of little wealth that I may have. Not that I have a lot of wealth. If I did, I'd probably not be living in this house. I probably would not be living in this neighborhood, even though it's a nice area. I'd be rubbing shoulders with the elite, the club, not the club, but, the rich folks in town. I'd probably be a complete sheep and I wouldn't be doing YouTube videos. I wouldn't know these things, which is why I am glad I'm not that. I'm just an average person just like you who woke up one day, started waking up more and more and more, started posting videos on YouTube. People were interested. Now I'm looking at, my stats and I'm getting 50, 60, 70, sometimes more. One day I saw 100 people subscribed. Fantastic. That makes me feel so fantastic. Like, damn, that's great. People want to know these things. They want to keep up with what's really happening out there. And I remember when I used to talk about the foreclosure stuff, some guy was on his way to go deal with something in court. He was about to lose his house. He said, man, you just saved me. You just saved me from losing my house. And I did what you said. And they stopped. They stopped going through whatever was. And I don't remember what it was. It was a few years ago. And so I was like, man, that's fantastic. It didn't cost him any money. I'm not, pay for Jason for his newsletter. No. Now, if you want to get burned, absolutely crushed out of your money for a newsletter, go subscribe to Bo Polney. Okay? That's where you're going to lose a fortune on absolute nonsense. As you know, he's been out lately again. New crash date superseded the last crash date, which superseded the previous crash date, which superseded the previous crash date. Got a new one now. Doesn't allow anybody commenting on his channel unless he approves it. Can't go there and comment. It pisses me off still that this guy's taking people's money for a so-called newsletter. Anyways, I'm out. Take care.